Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. The Canadians get another win, another shootout win, another Dobesh win, 2-1 in Scotiabank Arena against the Toronto Maple Leafs for the first time in like 11 games or something, which I find hard to believe, but apparently that's true. I don't know. I feel like the Canadians are never, I mean, obviously they had a stretch of being not great, but I feel like we have like a record of losing against like so many different teams, like the Wild and recently like we extended that one against the LA Kings. Like there's a lot of teams that for whatever reason we just can't beat. So yeah, anyway, but we got the win here. We broke that record, that streak anyway. It was an interesting game all the way around. I feel like the Canadians, you can look at the stats and be like the Canadians definitely dominated this game. The shot totals were 34-23 in favor of Montreal. I feel like especially in that second period, we were all over the Toronto Maple Leafs. Getting a power play goal, obviously Cole Caulfield scored his 15th of the season. Sapkowski with his 7th assist, and Demidov gets his 15th assist on the year, chipping away at Beckett Seneca and Matthew Schaefer for that league lead in rookie scoring. And that stood as the only goal of the game technically for the Canadians. But yeah, just a lot of like chances that just didn't quite go our way. A couple missed opportunities. Suzuki had a really nice one that he just kind of whiffed on right in front of the net, kind of right after that initial power play goal. So a lot of chances that just weren't being capitalized on. And just like that made the difference there. Obviously, we gave the Toronto Maple Leafs a point there, which is really unfortunate. Considering how tight this Atlantic division is right now, we really do not want to be giving Atlantic opponents points against us right now. But we did get the win. That crucial second point there puts us at 33 points on the year, which is tied with the Boston Bruins for second in the Atlantic and only one behind the Tampa Bay Lightning for first in the Atlantic division. So we're definitely staying in the race right now. Obviously, it's still pretty early, and we're so tight right now that like a loss and a win for the wrong teams is going to send the Habs all the way down the charts, like we were not too long ago after I lost to Ottawa last weekend. But yeah, or on Tuesday it was, but. Either way, a great win here. It just feels like, you've got to be able to score a couple more goals. I feel like we have such a potent offense, and just sometimes we just can't seem to find a way to finish and put pucks in the net. Obviously, credit to Dennis Hill to be obviously coming in as like their third stringer and having a really great game against us, which seems like it's just classic Habs luck that, a third string goalie would come and have his, best performance of the season against the Canadians. But either way, a great win. We did what we had to do to get the win, and we need these wins here, especially when we play well for majority of the game here. We just had one lapse here in that third period. Scott Laughton scored on a clap bomb in the shorthanded while we were on the power play, which is really unfortunate. You definitely do not want to lose points or risk losing points off of a shorthanded goal by the opposition. Should not have been close. It should not have gone to overtime anyway, because the Canadians should have been able to capitalize on a lot of their chances that they had. But either way, it's tough when you can't like expect to win games when you only score one goal. We did tonight, but we can't make a habit of that for sure. But yeah, this team has gotten a little bit of everything. I feel like we get a game where we score 5 or more goals and we win pretty big, pretty decisive win. Some games where we get scored on a whole bunch and we lose pretty decisively, and a lot of games in between where it's a 1-goal game. It's we have to come back or whatever. So we definitely got another one on our list. It could have been another 1-0 win, but we'll take the shootout win as well. Got to shout out Alexander Texier for his shootout attempt. First of all, Cole Caulfield got a nice one. He finally switched up his strategy a little bit. I mean, it was mostly the same, but the one major difference is instead of going 5-hole on Hildeby, he went upstairs in the top corner there. So that was really nice. A really nice way to switch things up, and it worked out for him. He got the first goal there. But then for Dobesh, it's tough to stop both William Nylander and Austin Matthews there. So definitely understandable that Matthews would score a nice one there. It makes sense. But he did the rest. He did the rest of the work. He stopped Nylander and he stopped Tavares to win the game for us there at the end. And Texier just, I was like when he was coming up to shoot, I was sitting there thinking like there's absolutely no way we were sending out Texier again just because of one fancy shootout move that he scored in practice when we picked him up off of off of the sign there. Like, there's no way we're setting this guy in when we have Demidov and we have Hudson and we have Suzuki and all of these other guys who can, do much better, I feel like. But then he proves me wrong. He gets a couple of stick handles in there, and it's kind of his signature move from what I understand. Like, he's done it before in the shootout, but he gets a couple stick handles in and he just goes for the one-hander, just shovels it, pool cues it right in between Hildeby's legs, and a really nice goal there. So huge. And that was I think the first time in this game that we actually took advantage of the fact that we were playing against a third string goalie. He looked great throughout the regular 60 minutes and then into overtime there. But when it's one-on-one, player versus goalie, I feel like the players really shined for Montreal against a goalie who is not as experienced in the league in general, and just hasn't played a whole lot of games in the NHL this season. So I think that was the time where we were able to take over, and good for us that that Dobesh was able to make the saves that he needed to make to keep this thing going. So so we get a great win there. Not too much to say about this one. I mean, it's a very game, like we should have won this game, like 5-1 or something like that. There were so many chances with the Canadians, should have scored, but either Hildeby made some great saves, and also just the Canadians weren't able to capitalize on their chances. And a lot of missed nets and whiffs on shots and all that kind of stuff. So definitely something to look forward to in the future, is just trying to find a way to put pucks in the net, all that stuff. Like, we got to find a way to score, especially when we're playing a goalie that's not necessarily one of the top goalies in the league right now. Although, who knows, right? Like, he had a great game today. I feel like the Leafs might want to, play him a little bit more going forward, especially with all of their injury troubles right now. I'm sure Joseph Woll will be back in net for them in no time. But I mean, I feel like they should be very happy with the effort that he put in for the Leafs there to keep them in that one. He's really the only reason, in my opinion, that the Leafs even got 1 point out of this effort. So they should be happy with that. And I feel like the Canadians should have put this game away in the 60 minutes, but we will absolutely take the 2 points that we get. The only thing that's kind of concerning moving forward, based off of that, is the fact that the Canadians just don't have a whole lot of regulation wins right now. We have 8 regulation wins, 15 wins total, but only 8 in regulation, which means we have 7 overtime wins. Which I mean, it's great. Like, we're 7-3 in the overtime frame. A lot of those being kind of early in the season, October and November. But even still, like, I feel like with how tight this division is, we're gonna want to start winning a couple more games in regulation, because if it comes down to tiebreakers, we are not where we need to be in terms of that. We're actually one of 2 teams in the playoffs in the Eastern Conference that have less than 10 regulation wins right now. So we got to find a way to win a couple of these within the 60-minute time frame, which means not only playing defense, and I feel like we did a great job, obviously only conceding 1 goal, playing defense. Dobesh played another great game, but we got to find a way to generate offense and actually finish our chances. It was good we scored on the power play, all that kind of stuff. But 5-on-5, we got locked down just as well as we were locking them down. Both goals ended up being, with on-man situations. So it was a power play goal for us and then a shorthanded goal for them on our power play. So we got to find a way to make that work out. Obviously, the shorthanded goal is not ideal, but it shit happens. That's just the way things go. It should not have made a difference, because the Canadians should have scored a few more goals in the 60-minute frame and not had to worry about that. So that's kind of what to look forward to next, is how the Canadians going to find a way to generate a little bit more offense. But I'm sure we'll turn around and we'll find a way to score a few goals here, as long as we stay sharp defensively as well. We'll find a way. And it almost feels like, Martin St. Louis recently has been really harping on, the defensive play of the team. And obviously in the past couple of games, we've been very solid defensively, but, it seems like, at least in this game, at the expense of our offensive production. So we need to be able to find a little bit of a middle ground there between, the offensive, rushes and chances that we can, put behind the goaltender, and also, taking care of the puck in our own zone and all that kind of stuff. So that's what to look forward to there. I feel like we'll be able to find a way. Martin St. Louis will find a way to get his guys whipped into shape there. And we won't have too long to wait to see what will happen, because we play another game a little under 24 hours from now in the Bell Center against the St. Louis Blues, who are really not getting things figured out right now. And this is a game that the Canadiens. This is a great game to test. Can we generate some offense, score some goals, and then put a game away? Before we get to overtime, right? Like we got to find a way to put some pucks through, past will probably be Jordan Binnington, and finish this game before the 60 minutes comes around, because that's what good teams do, right? Like we need to be able to find a way to, take advantage of teams that aren't playing so well. As a solid team ourselves, we need to be able to find a way to, punish their play and make sure that they, don't feel like they're in this game against a solid team like we are, at least hoping to be. So, that'll be interesting. Another interesting thing from that is I know the Kent Hughes is more than likely scouting a few of St. Louis's players, namely Jordan Kyrou potentially, but also I've heard about Jordan Binnington. I doubt we trade for a goalie, and I doubt that goalie would be Jordan Binnington. But even so, like there are a couple of players on St. Louis that would be interesting to see if we end up going for. I know that in last year's trade, or free agency period, Ken Hughes was trying to get Jordan Kyrou for the Canadiens, and considering how the St. Louis Blues are playing at a little over, like close to the third, like 30% point of the season here, I'll be interested to see if he decides to target some of those guys. But it should be an interesting scouting thing, but also the win is the most important thing here. So what I'm looking for this game tomorrow is to find some energy. I know it's a second of back-to-back. Obviously, we played a hard-fought game today, but I want to find a way to get some offense generated here against a team that isn't exactly very prolific offensively themselves. Just find a way to put some goals past their goaltender, and get this game over with in quick fashion, right? So that's my goal here, but that all remains to be seen. So that's all I have for you guys today, and I will see you after another big win against the Blues tomorrow.